chaining. This is how they measure. Bees are nature's perfect architects. So what they're doing is they're stringing together to create the new wax comb. If we're lucky enough, we might just see a bee that's excreting her wax glands so we can see wax made. This is how bees make their wax, is by breaking down the food in their body and excreting this little flake of wax. And then they take these little mandibles, which if I can get her to grab me here, she gets out her mandibles. It's right there. These two things are kind of pinched together. That protects her proboscis, which is her tongue. So she'll grip the wax flake with her mandibles and mold it together with the front legs to make those brilliant combs that I'm about to show you. It's incredible.
So all worker bees are female?
Yes.
Okay.
So in order to really get through here, I've got to clear off this, and unfortunately that means taking them off of the bar. And they'll have to regroup, but you see how they've been cleaning, getting this ready. We've scraped other wax off here because we recently harvested, but this is fresh propolis to help seal the gap in their bars. And they've already started to glaze new wax on this bar to draw out new combs. I'm going to move a little bit more quickly here because no hive likes to be opened for too long. You'll see the bees are all on the side wall. They're clustering together. This is how they defend themselves from pests, keep the hive the right temperature. And you'll notice we have dots all down one side. This is to help remember which comb went where. It's like a puzzle. You got to put it back together the right way. Isn't that beautiful? Brand new white comb. Probably built it in the last few days. That's actually nectar. It's uncapped.
Oh, yeah.
So the nectar is what's freshly harvested from the trees, the flowers, and they have to turn it into honey by stirring it with their proboscis and fanning it with their wings. So I want to lift very gently because part of the comb is cracked. This is all nectar and just starting to be honey on both sides. So I'm going to draw a line between those two, because that tells me these two are connected. Then next time when I come through, there's no surprise. I don't try to pull and it comes apart all loaded, ready to harvest. Now I know what I'm getting into. We're making a mess over here, not my favorite thing to do over a beehive, but sometimes it's unavoidable, and it's good for you to see it all. Sometimes you can go to a workshop, you see everything goes so well. Bees live 4 to 6 weeks, so those that are sort of at the end of their life cycle and aren't super vibrant may not make it no matter what.
Are these German bees or?
These are carniolan bees. You can tell by their color. They've got a lot of amber gold in their band. See this color here? German bees are very dark. If you've ever thought about getting into chicken farming, they love this stuff and they get excited and they'll actually go around and clean up the bee yard. I think that the reason why we don't have super high beetle counts most of the time is because we have a cleanup crew that just goes around and eats what's laying down on the ground.
How long would that have taken them to build that comb?
It varies. Every hive is different. So this one was here last time I was here. It's not a new comb, so it has taken them a while to fill it out like this.
Wow.
So you see all the stuff on the bottom? That's all capped brood. And you notice how it's all pretty much the same age, except for in the middle there's some nectar and there's some pollen and stuff that the bees had already filled in there. So this is a nice brood pattern. It's very thorough. You don't see a lot of different ages, and there's not just one circle of something over there. It's very predominant.
So you said this is a top, what did you say? It was a top something?
Top bar hive.
Top bar hive. What's the other version?
There's Langstroth hive, which is the most popular, or it's the most widely used. And that one you use frames. And a lot of beekeepers use foundation sheets. Thanks. And when you use those foundation sheets and the bees are forced to build on a set grid size, we do Langstroth hives as well. And we do foundationless frames so that the bees build all their own combs just like this, but they build them inside that frame. So whenever I look at a comb, I'm always looking for the queen. And I know sometimes I may pause before I answer your questions. It's because my eyes are always on the next comb over before I look at this one. So I'm looking here to see if I see her before I actually look at this one. And for me, it takes a moment of focus. Like I really have to draw in to make sure I'm looking for her or feeling out if she's there. And the reason why is that a lot of times when you're here, the main focus that you're looking for is to make sure the hive is healthy. And mainly they have a healthy queen, because a healthy queen makes a healthy hive. So I'm always looking for everything. There's no one thing that you look for, but there's different signs that you look for hive health. Like, do you see healthy brood? Is there any brood that doesn't look healthy? Hopefully we don't see any unhealthy brood today, but if we do, I'm definitely going to point it out to you. Here's a nice little larva that didn't get crushed. You guys can see what they look like as they're developing. So because this hive has some kind of delicate combs and I don't want to see anything fall down, I'm going to demonstrate on this one. And when we get into the next one, if anybody feels like they want an opportunity to try to go through it, as we get in, if it looks like it's going to be easy enough to do so, we'll have that opportunity.
What? I don't see any brood in this comb, so you just know it's brood comb because of...
There's larvae in there.
Oh, there are? No.
Sometimes it's really hard to see, especially when it's like eggs.
And because I have this mesh on my face.
Yeah, that's really hard too. That's another benefit of not wearing that stuff. So there's like little larvae in there, and then over here, in like the center of that of the Y there.
The nurse bees are the kind of newish born bees. They're the ones that go around and feed all the young bees. So if you see these bees here that are hanging out, these are all nurse bees. They groom and care for the queen and the babies. And then when they get a little older, then they'll become guards. And then when they get even older, they'll become foragers. So they go through all the roles in the hive, and they actually have it very well laid out in my book what the stages are. But as they're going through those stages, each bee just automatically knows what they're supposed to do, which is pretty awesome.
Did you say you saw the queen on that one?
No, there's a queen cup.
Can we see the queen cup?
Yes.
Oh, this big one right here?
Yeah, the cell that's on the side.
Oh.
Okay.
Now we don't want these bees to swarm, so we're going to remove this queen cup. You just do so by pinching it like that. You don't want to leave any wax frayed, so try to remove all the little bits of stuff. But by removing that queen cup, we're telling them, no, it's not time to swarm right now.
Is that how you spit?
And see why it's really important to have those dots, especially if you're new to this, because I just did all kinds of moving it around. If I didn't have that dot, I might be going, which way does this go? So bees are really in tune with what's going on around them. They're constantly picking up on changes. And there I could tell that there was a lack of focus. And the bees were like, hey, pay attention. And I asked John to smoke it so that we could bring them back in. So this one's all young, uncapped brood. So we've got the young eggs. This is all honey, nectar, and then you've got eggs in almost every cell over here. And then she's got a whole bunch of 4 or 5 day old larvae. And then down in here, there's a whole bunch of older, more like 6 day old larvae, and then new eggs. So she did her spiral, but her spiral started smaller and then went outward like this, which is pretty cool to see. Whenever you can pick up on that pattern, it's something to notice, because it's really kind of means something about the health and strength of your queen. And I'm always looking for her. I look for her in a spiral pattern. You know, a lot of what I feel like with bees is that infinities and spirals, they're pretty significant with bees. Bees, notice right now, this bee's got me in her sights. John, can you smoke me, please? So bees will kind of check you out in different ways. One, they'll fly in an infinity in front of you, could be on the side. That's to let you know that they notice you. It's a figure 8. We're here, we're looking at you. Once you become part of it, then you're on the radar, and it's only a matter of time. I am unfortunately on her radar. And we have a comb that is kind of stuck here on the side. I'm going through high low. Just being very patient with me, thank goodness. I can feel her fury. So these are not connected, but I chose to keep them together because they're stronger together that way, and the bees have sort of joined them on the sides. But you could take them apart if you wanted to.
Is that a queen cup?
It is. Anybody feel comfortable to pinch those?
I'll try.
Okay.
Yeah, you got a camera?
So I kind of just wait till the bees get off.
You can just brush them gently with your fingers and then pinch this up.
And what do I do to...
That's good. Do you feel comfortable with the other ones?
Yeah.
There's one more, I think there. Yep. Is that big clean enough? That's good. They'll clean the rest. Good job. So the queen could be in here, and I would love for you to see her. However, I can see when I can prevent messes, and I like to do so. So this time around, those combs are going to stay together. Once they get older, they get stronger. But when they're soft and fresh like this, they just melt like butter in your hands. Nobody else cares but her. Did you see that? You notice? One bee.
One track mind.
Yeah.
So is there always brood on a cone?
Not always.
Not always.
These bees are feeling like they're about outgrowing their box. They're growing really fast.
So the queen cup at the bottom?
Yeah, so we actually, this was the mama hive that we split from last time. And they were doing this, what, a month ago. So this hive is like, we are growing so strong you can't keep up with us. So in here we've got some pollen over here, honey, nectar, pollen. Everybody see the difference? They're very different. Honey, nectar, pollen.
Oh,
All these
pollen.
little specks are pollen. It's all the colored stuff.
Huh.
What do they do with the pollen, if you don't mind me asking?
That's their protein. So pollen and nectar, or pollen and honey together, are actually like complete protein, and it's very good for you. There's some that say that eating pollen on its own, it's not digestible. At least for bees, it's not digestible. You know, some humans say that it works very well for them to eat pollen and they don't have any reactions to it. I found actually that it made the most sense to me. I was actually telling somebody when I eat pollen by itself I get a stomach ache, but when I eat it from the beehive I don't. And she said, oh, it's because it's not digestible. So that's how I learned about it, and I have found it to be very true. I don't eat pollen by itself anymore. I'll put it in smoothies or something if I do get some of the granular stuff, but I prefer to eat bee bread, which is how you harvest it in the comb like this. You just pull the whole comb and eat it like that. Kind of like gum, you can suck out all the pollen but then spit out the wax. It's really delicious and super good for you. Some more queen cups over here.
So that's more of a sign too that they're interested in that they're outgrowing their box, right?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's 3 that we've seen so far?
That's 3 combs, but like 8 cells. There's the queen. There she is. And this is Tallulah.
Yep.
Right, Catherine?
Yes, this is Tallulah.